Today we're going to be making the pickups for the guitar. Check it out. So just a brief overview here. I'm going to be making a template for the pickups, and then we're going to be making the pickups themselves. So the templates, because I have to make 2 of them, and I really don't have that great of tools for working with aluminum and getting nice straight, I don't want to say machined cuts, but nice straight cuts. So I'm going to make a template, and we're going to attempt to do some things a little bit unconventional for aluminum. So cross your fingers, hopefully this will work. There's how it's sitting, just kind of how I had it drawn, and looking at the fasteners and where they're going to line up. We're too fat on this side, probably a 1/4 inch. You know, when I get it lined up and then come off a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch looks a lot better to me. And then this end is a little short, probably, what I figure, 2/8, which would be a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to flip this guy over and use the back side, relay this out, and see if it fits. There's a look at it all lined out. So these are areas I've got to carve out for, if you remember right, I'm tipping things over. These little cores have to fit into there. So right below those 2 spots is where I'll actually route the body out for this pickup. So you can see the body route is going to be extremely small for these. Then I have, this guy just tipped over, but I just set my fasteners up there to see how they would hit the sides of the body. So I'm really happy with all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this guy out and get him ready for template life. I drilled and countersunk 2 of the holes from the template, so you can kind of see the detail there. And then I did that just so I could bolt the template onto my diamond plate. And this template is centered, let's call it between 2 of these peaks here, so that the holes for the magnets will be lined up on that line right there between those 2 sets of checks. This is probably not advisable for those at home. I'm going to use a router to trim up my aluminum here. Well, I can't say as that was awesomely fun, but it did work. I got the pickup all filed out there, and there might be a little bit more cleanup to do, but you know, nothing super major. As I say that, I see some things that need to be filed, so there we go. We'll try this again. I just did a little file and buff and sand and, you know, polish on the whole thing, because it just, I don't know, there was some funkiness to it. Basically just ran through filing it 180, 320, red Scotch-Brite, gray Scotch-Brite, 4/0 steel wool, all by hand, and then I did a little machine compound and polish. So now what we're going to do is kind of run this perimeter here with some super glue and stick this little dude down. And that's probably going to be it for a little while. I'm going to set something on that, maybe, so that she glues in place here. Now we're going to do the magnets, just kind of one by one, putting them in spot. And then I'm just going to put a drop of super glue down the center of them. I don't really know if that's going to work or not, but I'm hoping it will. The next bit I have to do is wire this guy. And I had some nice wire off the old spools over here that was brand new and what have you. But then I thought about it for a little bit. This is my guitar. I got a box of old Volkswagen wire that was donated from the Carmen Ghia project there. And this is either out of a Carmen Ghia. I had a 73 and a 74, one of those two wiring harnesses there, or it's little bits of out of a bus that I bought the harness from. And I thought, you know, I'd much rather see this this wire have another life and continue living in this guitar. So I picked out some colors I thought were kind of cool, so red and black and red and gray, and then one of these, I can't see through the camera, is actually green and black, and I like green a whole lot, so we incorporated that. So I'm going to wire this one with the Volkswagen stuff here. So this is where I left it last night, and basically polished up the pickup there, put the magnets in. I left out the second one on the B because that tends to be this ringer, at least in my head. I know a lot of people lower that magnet on pickups, so I just left out the second magnet there. We'll see. Hell, I may want to rip out the first one. But they're all super glued in place, and it is a little bit of a trick because these all want to oppose each other and pop them out. So I had to use a stainless steel bolt to hold them in place, you know, to just put pressure down on them while I super glued it and it dried. Then I super glued some electrical tape. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll try and get in here and focus. There we go. I super glued electrical tape to the inside of this opening so that it would be insulated from the plates that have to go into it. This is the beginning of the coil here. This is the middle one, so we're watching the resistance over here. There we go. Continuity. And then I'm going to take from the center tap again to the ground. We have continuity. And then from the primary tap there, or the first winding, we have continuity. So, and that's on a 20,000 K scale. I know there's some reading that you can do that tells you how many windings you have and all that jazz. I don't know what that is, but we'll just kind of leave it at this and know that we have continuity. The next operation is sticking these little guys in to all the gaps, and actually, yeah, we're all right. And in theory, this helps lock everything in. There she is with all the cores installed. This is the Kramer. It has an active EMG humbucker, and that's what we're on now. So this is kind of a baseline, what a EMG sounds like. Now we're set up, and unfortunately this is only half strength, so this totally sucks. For some reason the first half of the coil, when I hook it up, it does nothing, so there's either a short in there or something. So this is the last half of the coil. Even for half a coil, it sounds pretty badass. We can move it into the old neck position there, into possession. See if it sounds better, a little cleaner, a little. The magnets are fighting it from the other coils. We're out of tune. This is number 2. I've got it set up on the rig here. I just wanted to show real quick. I'm using this little prototype board that I had sitting around. Just sawed off a little bit of it there, and I'm poking the wires through it. I think it's going to help me a ton when I come to solder everything together. It just keeps it nice and organized. So that was one little thing I picked up. You know, got to kind of learn as you go here. There we have it, a pair of pickups done. This one here, I incorporated a little one of these little prototype doodad to help with the wiring, and that was a significant improvement. So this coil I think is going to be trash. I'm going to have to take this all apart here, and what I'll do is just make a new coil. I'll attach one of these on there. I did a sound test with this one. Just without it being grounded, it's so noisy. I got kind of frustrated, so sorry I didn't show that, but I'm going to do this one up kind of the same as this one. I'm also going to use the 42 wire on this, so we'll have basically 2 identical pickups there. My battery's dying. Don't let you move.